I appreciate you doing this for us. It's one of the reasons I want to do this here in New Zealand is because in this great awakening in New Zealand, people are thinking too small. Whereas hopefully with the understanding with your presentation, because your presentation is one of the best out there, it will get people to think a little bit more broadly of what's going on around the world rather than just the banking and that kind of corruption. So I really appreciate you jumping aboard and doing this for us.
Well, when you say my presentation, I mean, I have hundreds and hundreds of hours of stuff that I could present. So it would be helpful if you had some questions you'd like me to address. You're saying that people are, they don't care about flat Earth. They care about other stuff.
No. There's a lot of people talking about it. Nobody's done anything like this with somebody like you to give a decent presentation or information out there for us to build on. A lot of people are talking about it now. I mean, you would have seen that it's grown exponentially now over the last 6 months, especially, isn't it?
Yeah. So are you a TikTok user?
No, I'm not really. I'm a watcher, but I'm not a user.
So on TikTok, if you there's a channel called Angels_of_light, Angels of Light, and it's a guy in New Zealand, not New Zealand, in Australia. You're in New Zealand, right?
Just hold tight, Dave. For some reason the recording hasn't. Request host to start recording.
I gave you permission to record. I'm already recording.
Oh, you're already recording.
Yeah. So when you hit record, it's not going to say it. It'll say recording up there. If you have a problem, I have a backup and you can just download it from me. But
beautiful. Okay.
So I encourage you to listen to he does these live streams every day almost, where people can ask questions and Globers come on and try to prove the globe and literally prove flat Earth every time. So there's a lot of information out there. And this is my app just showing you that these are the people in New Zealand that have my app.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I'm surprised nobody's reached out to you prior to me.
Well, I think I've done some stuff in New Zealand. I don't remember the name of the show, but there's been people, but there's not that many people there. I mean, there's some, but so are you in Auckland?
New Zealand are pretty conservative, so they keep pretty low. Just recently, I've been out and talking to a few people, and quite surprised that there are more than you think, but not saying too much about it. And again, that's why hopefully getting this information out through me, it might pick that up a wee bit.
Yeah, you got it. Well, you also got to remember that the blue dots on that map represent less than 1% of the flat earthers out there, because those are just the flat earthers that know who I am and the ones that have my app and have registered on the friend finder. So there's a lot more people than people are willing to realize, but more and more people are speaking out every day. And when someone goes, well, what difference? It's an intelligent question, but it's really a really dumb question. What difference does it make in my life? I still have to go to work on Monday. That's what we've been programmed to say. But if you don't think somebody hiding where you live, your true potential, hiding free energy, hiding more resources, hiding more land, probably, hiding all of these things doesn't affect your life, well, you're just not thinking. But from a indoctrinated normie, which is somebody that went to school as they were supposed to and was taught that the earth is a globe by people that they trust, it is a question. But once you ask it, if you actually think about it, it's really a very dumb question.
It is. And that's what I mean. When you understand it, it makes you think broader about everything. This whole awakening. People are getting locked in that the banking's corrupt and all these little, to me, are minor things compared to understanding that the chances are that there's more land out there. you know.
For sure.
And this is what I want to try to put out there is for me is, we know it's flat in nature. We don't know the construct of it. We don't know what's really out there. There's a lot of speculation of what's out there, but we don't really know what's out there, but we know that there's something out there. Um,
Are
you
you
know,
in Eastern New Zealand? Would you call it
South Island on the east coast.
on
Yeah.
the East Coast? Right. So,
Yeah.
and it's
So
about it's
on
like
my beach, I'm staring at the wall,
is it about
essentially.
5 o'clock in the morning right now? 6 o'clock in the morning?
7:30.
Seven
So it's not
thirty.
bad.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I got it.
So I'll just, years ago, probably 10, 15 years ago, I started to hear about this. So, of course, I did what most people did, and probably the same as you. I went out there to try to prove it wrong, and I couldn't, just by using their calculator, their curvature calculator, and then going down to the beach and measuring out on Google Earth, and realized that I couldn't prove it wrong. But I still sat on the fence for a while until I sat with a guy at my daughter's hockey, and he was an ex-military guy who used to work down in Antarctica. And we weren't talking about flat Earth at all. He was just telling me about his experience down there, and he was saying that in summer, he says that the sun basically moves around in front of you in a big elliptical shape. So if you imagine you're on the edge of the plate and you're looking in, he says it just moves around you kind of like that. As soon as he said, again, he didn't know what he was saying. He wasn't trying to prove anything to me. As soon as he said that, I just knew that's it. That's the Earth is not what we think it is. So that was my introduction or my step into it.
Well, he's saying the sun circles around his head all the way around, like all
No,
sides.
no, in front of him,
It
in
sweeps in
front of
front
him,
of him and then goes away and then comes back.
and comes back. Yeah, so
Right.
he said his words were as in a big elliptical shape. So it goes, just stays in front of you, goes out, goes away, and then comes back round again.
Interesting. Interesting. Yeah, and Antarctica is supposedly the highest land on Earth. So the optics of the dome, if there's a dome, are beyond what we can physically measure. We live on this toroidal plane, on this dielectric plane, and what's above us and what's below us, I couldn't tell you, right? We have this toroidal field. You got the luminaries up in there. You got all the wandering stars doing their own patterns. We live here, right? This is 1% of the whole system, right? And this is the
Yeah,
stuff that we're investigating. Everything else could be described as a simulation, or non-physical.
yeah,
Yeah, it's amazing.
yeah, and that's yeah, there's a lot of that going on at the moment, and I've been doing a lot of study on that as the simulated theory and all that kind of stuff, and how all this fits in. I sent a video, a movie to some friends just recently to have a look at called The 13th Floor. I don't know if you've seen that.
I've heard of it. As several people have told me about it. Remind me what it's
Yeah, well,
about.
the 13th floor kind of the simulated theory and the flat Earth, kind of merge in together there. So yeah, it's worth a watch. It's quite good.
The
Yeah.
13th floor. That's the name of the movie.
Yeah, so that depiction you've got there is perfect of what he was describing. So he was on the edge of the plate, essentially, as you say. He would have been high up, and he was seeing the sun move around in front of him in an elliptical. As I was saying, he had nothing to prove to me. He wasn't trying to tell me the Earth was flat. He wasn't trying to explain anything. We weren't even talking about it, so he had no clue of what he was saying to me.
Yeah, we recently had some people go on a very suspicious trip to Antarctica to witness if there's a 24-hour sun, and there's a lot of discrepancies on that trip on what they actually saw. Was it real? Was it filmed? So many issues. And there's it's been filmed before, faked. It's been faked 2 or 3 times, and we've caught them faking it. Now, all of a sudden, this time we're supposed to believe that it's real because they brought some flat earthers there. It's truly an amazing time we live in. But in the Arctic, the sun circles around your head. In the Antarctic, we can
Yep.
witness the sun come and go away. Now the question is, certain times of the year, could you see it go all the way around? You know, could you? I don't know. And again,
Uh,
the optics of the
That's what.
sky don't add curvature to the flat Earth.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that yeah, again, that's just what he said without knowing what I was kind of studying at the time. So I could only take it as true because he had no reason to distort it in any way.
Get it?
So then, there must be, because I keep battling with it myself. That's, the sun to go away from you. That's a long way away to be able to optically see it. But obviously at a higher plane and all of that kind of stuff, that's what he saw. So, um, but I was watching after all of that. You had a couple of is it Dave the Professor? And I'm
Professor.
not too sure if Jeranism is still a friend of yours or not, but I watched their attitudes, and I've had a lot of experience of dealing with agents, and I understand how they talk, and they're very easy to pick up. And that Dave, the professor, is clearly an agent. The way he just keeps saying to you, "You're a liar, you're a liar, you're a liar, you're a
Well, that's
liar."
what that's what
You know,
Jaron's now doing too. He's picked up that same
that's what
thing. Every
exactly
You're a
what Sharon's
liar.
now doing.
You're a
Yeah,
liar.
I've never been a fan of
Yeah.
Jaron's show
No.
anyway, but I clearly watched this difference of attitude
Yeah.
towards the way he was speaking with people.
It's amazing. He's literally, because he allegedly saw light in the sky circle. Now, all of the other baggage that goes with the heliocentric model is now, we see Mount Kennedy because of refraction and the counterclockwise, versus clockwise rotation of the stars. His explanation that he's been saying for 10 years no longer counts. He totally
Yeah,
reversed.
yeah,
Yeah, like
he
that,
just clicked, didn't he?
like that, like
Yeah,
I don't really want to even talk about him because something
yeah,
he's
that's
in
people.
his own words,
Yeah,
he got himself into a situation and he doesn't know what to do. So everyone can speculate what that means, but that's a message that he sent somebody at the beginning.
gotcha.
So who knows what it is. So the thing is, the truth is the truth, and the truth will come out. And the more the liars lie, the more it exposes the truth.
Yeah. So in front of you, you got the perfect flat Earth map, which is in everybody's face every single day.
Yep.
And I always, here in New Zealand, I always say, look where New Zealand is. New Zealand's right at 12 o'clock there. We're first to see that sun coming round. So, New Zealand and America got a large part to play in what's going on in the world at the moment.
Yeah, and they basically took the flat Earth map. They say that the flat Earth map came from the globe. No, but the globe came from the flat Earth map, and they took it, they wrapped it around, and they said, "You can't go
Mm,
explore this white area, right? That's it. We got to save the penguins, right? The penguins are most important, right? But the thing is, there's bases all the way around. There's like 100 bases, or I don't even know. Maybe there's more, right? There's bases all around. Okay, but nobody goes from this base to this base. Nobody crosses
no,
because they're really on the opposite sides of the world
yeah,
when you undo it. Pretty amazing.
yeah. It is, and it's what was I think you've said in a previous shows is Captain Cook. It took him 4 years to circumnavigate or go round the circle to the actual
Right.
Antarctica.
Yeah, it took them when I supposedly clocked like 68,000 miles, which makes a lot of sense. Um,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. So again,
And the other thing is
good.
the distortion of, as I think you've pointed out before, the distortion of the shapes of America and all that on the NASA globe models. Every time they take a photo of it, the shapes and the sizes are all completely different all of the time.
These are supposedly the actual shapes and sizes of the dark areas are the actual
Yeah.
size.
Wow. Holy
Yeah.
shit.
Those are the exercises, but this is what they want to show you it's doing. Um I have the other. Wait, where is the I had a good comparison. Actually, I don't have it right handy, but when you compare the Gleason's map, these are all proportionate. All these dark areas are proportionate to the sizes on the Gleason map.
Right. I
Yeah.
mean, look at Iceland, for God's sake.
Yeah.
That's insane. I mean, it just points out the distortion or that we're living in, what that does to our minds when when you don't know the truth. You see something's wrong, but you don't, most people just don't, it is what it is. It is what it is.
Right. it's
Just,
it's mind blowing when you start looking into this stuff.
it is. Yeah. You just recently did a thing on some pilots doing a trip, and they filmed it in respects to the movement of the stars. Have you got, because I
Yeah,
found that one quite
that
interesting.
actually I've been meaning to show that. Excuse me. Show that more because that one is really they can't screen refraction. They can't do all of the nonsense they pull. So give me a second here. It is so here is this is this is how you have to believe airplanes fly over the earth. Okay. But it's worse than that because when they're flying like that, the earth is also spinning. So look at the apparent motion. This is kind of going in a weird figure eight. Well, how is it changing directions and speeds? The ground at the equator right there is moving 1,000 miles an hour. And when it's over the pole, it's just spinning. Like, how's it moving sideways, speeding up and slowing down, and then speeding up all the way up to 1,000 and back down to zero, right? It's sideways motion, right? So when you think about that, it's ridiculous. So here is a simulation, excuse me, of a plane flying. So you're always on the top from your position, and the stars in the distance will rise up as you're diving over the ball, right? As you're diving over the ball, it rises up. Let me see if this is the video. So here is a shot from Germany to Brazil, like 4,000 miles. And if you watch these stars, they're not rising up. When the plane turns, they move. They're actually going down a little bit. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow.
So this is what Google Earth says that flight should look like. The stars should be rising up because you're diving halfway over the Earth. They should be.
Yeah.
They should be the stars in front of you should be over your head. Right. Somebody did a little simulation right here. Oh no, that's not it. Is that it? Hold on. Yeah. Somebody did a little, I'll show it. Let's see. So they have there's the takeoff pot, and then this is just the stars. He put some type on the wall. And as he's diving over, those things are going up. And look, there's your buddy, Professor Dave. So there's no answer to this. No answer to this. The answer is the Globers came. They said, so here's the laser. The plane is shooting a laser, and as it's diving over, its front view is going down. That means those things are going up, right? And so Professor Dave, I don't know, it wasn't Professor Dave, one of the other trolls, came back and said, well, that's because you're going with the spin of the Earth. Right? You're going with with the spin. Well, that doesn't make sense because the spin's only is 1,000 miles an hour. The plane's only going 500 miles an hour, so it should be slower. But the worse than that is when the plane comes back, the star should be going twice as fast because it's going against the spin.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing in both directions. Same thing in both directions.
It's funny how the trolls that they say to you, your answer always is it just is, but that's actually their answer. That's what they do. That they're gaslighting something shocking
Constantly.
You're actually showing actual proof here.
Constantly.
Or simulated.
I love when they bring up planes because think about this: a plane coming into an airport the pilot says, "Okay, we're going to start descending," and the pilot kind of gets to decide when he wants to start descending, 100 miles out, 125 miles out. And I was on a flight not too long ago, and the pilot decided they're 125 miles out. They're going to start descending. So the pilot has to calculate how many feet per minute to get to the height of the runway at 125 miles, right? So, so he has to figure out what rate of descent he needs. So when he gets to the runway, he's not too high. The problem is that angle is an angle to a flat Earth because at 125 miles out, the Earth is 2 miles lower than the calculation. So he would literally be 2 miles over the airport using the calculations that they use.
Right.
Game over. Airplanes fly
Yeah.
over the Earth plane. And if you want to get into curvature, right? The SR-71 Blackbird, right? It goes like 3,200 miles an hour. The drop rate is insane. It's like 800 feet per second. That's the drop. And now they have the SR-72 spy plane, goes 4,000 miles an hour. Do you know what the drop rate is? It has to drop. It literally has to go down at 1.1 miles per second to follow the curve of the Earth.
Jesus.
ChatGPT says that there would be like 80 Gs and no human could ever survive that.
Just that standard flight time, you wouldn't be able to handle the Gs.
Well, you could,
You know,
and also I know that the SR-71 Blackbird, when it's going full speed, it can't turn left or right. So how could it turn up and down? Right? Is the air curved?
yeah,
Even if the air was curved, the centrifugal force would throw the pilots to the ceiling and kill them.
yeah.
But nobody wants to talk about that. And do you do much flying? Do you fly anywhere? Are you
No, not for years. No.
You've been on New Zealand for a long time.
I flew years ago, but I kind of got involved in this movement and have kind of thrown my life at it, literally.
Yeah.
Not the flat Earth, but the whole awakening side of things here. They're pretty aggressive here in New Zealand with people that stand up and just, trying to set this up. I've had all my accounts shut down, all my email accounts shut down. Then you you couldn't join the Zoom. I just get completely shut out. I what do you call it? Gang stalked.
There's a lot of New World Order in New Zealand. All of our world leaders, they go to New Zealand and they go to the base off of New Zealand in Antarctica. They're probably getting their marching orders from the Nephilim or, whoever, who knows. New Zealand to Argentina on a ball, this is what FlightAware says the shortest route is. Right there, right? Try to go to Argentina on an airplane. You know where they take you? Think about this. You got your globe. You got your northern hemisphere on the top. You got your southern hemisphere on the bottom. Okay? So you got a line around the middle. It's the equator, right? You with me?
Yep.
You with me? So if I took any two spots in the north, any two, it doesn't matter, any two airports, would an airplane ever need to go below the equator to get to the other airport? Even if they were like right near the equator and then right near the equator over here, they could go around this way or they can go over this way, but they would never need to cross the equator. And guess what? No airplanes ever do in the north. But in the south, two southern airports, same thing should be true. Your plane's flying upside down, doesn't matter. Would never need to go to the northern hemisphere, except this flight and many other flights. This flight goes from New Zealand across the equator, not just a little across the equator, way across the equator to San Francisco on the west coast of America, then over to Texas, and then all the way down to Argentina. Instead of zip.
That alone shows you. It's nearly twice the trip.
Yeah. What did your mother teach you about the shortest distance between 2 points? New Zealand, San Francisco, Houston, Texas, Argentina. It couldn't be any more of a straight flight.
That's right. Yeah. Case closed.
Yeah.
It's pretty simple.
Yeah. Here's just another southern flight from Wellington to Johannesburg. It goes all the way up here to Doha and then all the way down. Well, Wellington, Brisbane, straight shot. It's a straight shot. not on a
Hmm.
globe, across the equator twice, just like the other one.
But that's also a depiction of how they've got us living our life. They've they've got us running around all over the show, stuff that doesn't make sense. This doesn't make sense here. The other thing you've got, I don't know whether you've got any shots of, is where there's either a death or a sickness on a plane, how they'll divert off uh, to another airport, but it doesn't make sense, the place that they go to.
Right. The emergency landings
Yeah,
happen all the time. Someone's having a baby, someone is um somebody is having a heart attack, whatever. And here is there's a book called 16 Emergency Landings by Eddie Alencar. It's a great book. You can get the free PDF online, or you can just you can find it. It's in the book section on the app. And it documents these crazy emergency landings that make absolutely no sense. Let me find one for you here. Where is it? Here we go. So this one is from New York to Hawaii, and they right around here near California. There was an emergency. They went 1,000 miles out of their way to Seattle. They got there in a record amount of time. How did they get there that fast? But if you look at it, New York, Seattle, Hawaii. Look at a couple more. This Pakistan to London, went to Moscow for an emergency.
wow.
Moscow is right on the line. Now, in the north, they're not as severe as in the south. The south are crazy ones. Another one, Chicago to Doha, Moscow, 1,500 miles out of the way. Got there in like 15 minutes. How did it do that? Do the math. Okay. Beijing, that's Dallas, that went way out of the way to Calgary. Makes no sense until you look at it on a flat Earth map. It's weird though
Mm.
that all of these emergency landings, they go, the place that they go to is right on a straight line on the flat Earth map. Isn't that a coincidence? Are you a coincidence theorist?
Isn't
Right? Yeah. It's no. Here's one in your neck of the woods. Fiji, from New York to New Zealand, and right here, not too far from New Zealand, emergency. They went all the way over
Yeah.
to Fiji. Right? They went all the way over to Fiji. Um, when we look at it, New York, Fiji,
Fiji.
New
Holy
Zealand.
hell.
It's in a straight line.
Yeah. Mm.
Weird. Just that's another coincidence, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
and my favorite of all time is somebody's not feeling well, someone's having a baby, somebody's having a heart problems. They land that plane like that. Somebody dies, they land the plane immediately, right? Right. So there was a mother traveling with her husband and I think three small kids or a couple small kids, and they're going from Hong Kong to Germany. I think they're going to Germany or UK. I'm not sure, but that's 12 hours flight to Germany. Okay, 12 hours flight. 4 hours into the flight, mom dies suddenly. Weird, huh? It's weird, She was probably fully vaccinated and everything. I don't know how that happened. All right, so the plane was full. They kept her inner seat dead next to her kids for 8 hours. Could you imagine sitting next to your mother, let alone dead mother, for 8 hours? Okay.
That's traumatic.
Okay. But when you look at it, they couldn't land because they were over Russia. Not that we're not allowed to fly over Russia, but if they landed in Russia, Russia probably would have been very helpful. Could have sparked world peace. Can't have that. But we'd also be able to say, why'd you stop in Russia? And we'd have proof. So they had to literally fly all the way to Germany before they could land, because then you wouldn't know that you were over Russia.
Right. Yeah, I see. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So they have to hold up that narrative constantly at
Yeah.
all costs.
All at all costs. Yeah.
Wow.
And these go on and on. I highly recommend that book. Check it out. Here's another one from Buenos Aires, stops in New Delhi to Amsterdam. Kind of weird, all the way up, all the way back down, or Perfect spot for a pit stop, get some fuel.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, they're pretty simple proofs for people to look at, and I don't know why people just don't see that and go, oh, okay, that the ball doesn't make any sense anymore. But it's just not that simple. People are holding on to this reality or that the fake reality as much as they can.
Yeah, people don't want to admit that they've been wrong. It's not that it's a bad thing. We're always looking for the easiest way to get stuff done, right? We're always looking for the most efficient way to
Yeah,
do things, right? You can also call that the laziest way to do things, right? You drop a pencil on the floor while you're sitting at your desk. Are you going to get up, walk around your chair and get it? Or are you going to kind of grab it with your foot and then lean over and pick it up with your fingertips, right? You look
yeah,
for the easiest way to do things. Nothing wrong with that, being efficient. But people are afraid of learning because they hated school because they were just taught to memorize and regurgitate. But once you find out the earth is flat, you're seeing evidence to it. You have two choices. One, you can dig in and start using your God-given brain. Or two, you can just hold on to your religious cult, heliocentric hypothesis belief system, your globe religion, and just stay where you are. Then you don't have to do anything. You can just take a nap.
yeah, yeah.
Take a nap.
And stay in comfort. I always, I always say it's comfort over courage that people are picking at the moment.
When you say you're on a truth journey, you're working, you're thinking all the time. You're writing, you're putting pieces together. People say, "Oh, you're a conspiracy theorist." No, you're a conspiracy theorist. You watch the news, which lies to you. You believe whatever they say. We're actually researching and analyzing the information and looking at the information. We're conspiracy analysts, right? Oh, I don't believe
Mm.
in conspiracies. You're an idiot if you don't believe in conspiracies. A conspiracy is when two or more people get together and plan something for their own benefit. That happens in your own house. Okay.
By definition,
Yeah.
yeah,
It
yeah,
happens every day in your life, everywhere. And our government officials, they would never conspire. They're here for our own good. Look at our leaders, Nancy Pelosi and everybody. They're multimillionaires when they come out of their office. Somehow they made money.
yeah.
They're not out of it for their own benefit. No.
Wasn't it years ago the presidents would come out of the office poorer than they went in,
Yeah.
but not
Yeah.
anymore.
Obama went in with like nothing and came out like 40 million or 140 million, something crazy. You know, it's crazy. It's great.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people in America that made money by just watching Nancy Pelosi, the House Speaker, um, her stock buys because she had all this inside information. So they were just mirroring her stock buys.
Oh, so they just follow her.
They just followed all of her trades. Like, oh, she bought this. I'm going to buy that, right? And in doing so, that actually could change it. If enough people followed, then everything's going to work. But she had inside information, and there's no doubt.
I mean, whatever people think of Elon Musk, it doesn't really matter. But some information he's just
It
put out.
matters. It matters.
Yeah, he said the special computer system for insider trading. He said would just blow your mind. What they've been doing with insider trading is,
It's beyond insider trading. It's all manipulated. It's all held up. I mean, that's how they launder money. They're just like, here, buy this crypto, buy this stock, and then it's going to go up and then sell it at this price, and now you've got clean money. It's such a laundry system, and most of the trading in the U.S. is just this company sells it, that company buys it, that company sells it, this country buys it. They go back and forth all day long. It's making trades like that. And so the volume is huge. Yeah. There's 900 billion shares sold today, right? Between the same companies, yeah. Right? It's nonsense. And Elon, anyone that thinks that he's legit with his mother and his Baphomet, like what is going on? It's like in plain sight. His mom is there's pictures. Just look up Elon's mom. It's every picture is a satanic photo, right? And Elon, the guy that's faking space, is going to audit NASA. We're good to go. It's going to work.
So what's your opinion? I know we're getting off the topic. What's your opinion about the bromance between him and Trump?
I think it's all to bring in this digital, technocratic, world prison, and Trump is as big of a part of it as anybody else. So everybody needs their hero. Elon's the hero. He brought the electric car here, and he did all these. He didn't do anything. On my website, flatearthdave.com. Scroll down until you see the picture of Elon, bunch of pictures of Elon. It says Elon Musk, and it's a 5-minute video, totally exposing that every company he's ever ran was a complete and total disaster. But he's the guy. He's the space program. He saved the astronauts. Did you watch the astronauts get saved from the space station?
Have you got anything on that? I mean, God, that was just
people are like, Dave, why don't you make a video on it? I'm like, just go watch the footage. I don't need to make a video.
Oh, it's insane.
It's so stupid. It's a combination of AI, green screens. There's one part where the background kept repeating, and then the dolphins swimming around. Then they added dolphins this time. They went over the top, right? And those dolphins are clearly in a pool, right? And it's all just spliced together. It's so bad. It's so bad.
It is.
Yeah.
I can't understand how any normie could. I keep thinking it if they done it so badly to wake people up. I mean, what's the whole?
I wonder that. That's my only hope for Trump is that he's doing all of these things to force it. God, I hope that's the case. But I don't have much. I don't have much hope for that. What's that?
So what have you got on perspective in respects to the sun and dropping down over the horizon and whatnot? And
yeah, so let's talk about that, because that's an important one. So here's one. Here's new. No one's seen this yet. So here we got these street lights, and are the street lights at the end of the road or below the road?
No,
your mind do the thinking. They're not below the road. It's just perspective. Bring it down. It ramps the road up. Anything above you ramps down to your apparent eye level right here, right? So
as you keep driving towards it, it keeps coming back up.
Yeah, here's time lapse of the sun, right? I just reversed it here. Is the sun going below the land or just beyond it? It's going into the horizon. So if I add this truck here, these lights, are they going below the road or just beyond the truck? Beyond the truck.
Right. Yep.
Right. And if I move the truck down and farther, the truck literally will become what appears to be your horizon. Everything merges, but the lights are still above it. It's still above the ground, and the lights are going to go beyond the truck. So the truck can be a hill. It could be the atmospheric deck, which becomes opaque over distance, right? Right here, this is where, when you're looking up, you're looking through the least amount of atmosphere. When you're looking forward more, when you're looking straight forward, you're looking through 100% atmosphere. So the atmosphere here becomes opaque, and it literally merges into the horizon. So this horizontal eye zone is 10 to 20,000 feet above your eye level, but it looks like it's at your eye level. And if you drew a line from your eyes to that horizon, you pull a string out there, that string to you would look parallel with the water.
Yeah.
But if it skimmed this horizon and you happen to be standing under this horizon, let's say that's 100 miles away, whatever it is, 50 miles away, it doesn't matter. That line would start at 20,000 feet in the air and be sloping back to your eye. That's how an orthographic view would look.
Yeah.
Right? So how about this? This hallway, is that level? Is the hallway flat?
It's flat in nature to me.
Yeah, it appears to be flat, and the sky is, the ceiling is flat, and it merges into this vanishing point. The walls come in, so that's the vanishing point we're all taught about in college, in our class, which they're trying to get rid of, right? So if the floor is flat and obeys perspective, what do you say about the ocean? The ocean does the same thing. So is the ocean flat also?
Well, it must be, because it's called sea level, so
it's doing the same exact thing as the hallway's doing. But in the heliocentric religion, the hallway's flat, but the ocean's curved, and you just can't see the curve. Right? If you're on the top of a ball, the farther out you look, the lower it you get. But look, the water is ramping up. How do you get it to ramp up on a ball unless you're below the top of the ball? You're always on the top of the, well, maybe you're not, you're in New Zealand. But from your point of view,
Yeah, we're upside down here,
yeah,
mate.
you're upside down. So everything's backwards. Everything's backwards. All right. So that's interesting. So let me ask you a question here. This. You got a blue line, yellow line, and the red line. Which two lines are the farthest apart?
Which two lines are
Which
the
line is
farthest
farther
apart?
from the yellow line?
The blue line and the red line are the farthest apart.
But the blue line is farther from the yellow line than the red line, right?
Yep, yep.
Okay. So that's a quarter of a mile.
Right.
What do you think the distance between the yellow line and the red line is? 25 miles.
Right.
So here we are.
I
We're at my shoreline. This line out here, there's an island over here, right? And it's a quarter of a mile to an island. But then here is New York City in the background, which is 25 miles farther. Okay.
Right.
So the way we see, this is a quarter mile, and you have to add 100 more of these distances in between the yellow line and the red line. But our eyes don't see that. All that data is compressed. We have top down, bottom up compression, left and right, perspective, and then there's back to front perspective compression. Right? So there's 100 times this distance compressed between the red and the yellow line. So let's take a look. I got a boat here, and I move it out a quarter of a mile. It gets, let's say, a quarter of the size, whatever the perspective is, right?
Yeah.
Right. Oh, actually, that's halfway out. That's Nathan. Well, a quarter of a mile out there, it's really small, right? So it's maybe a tenth of the size. This one is about a tenth of the size, right? So I have to take this, the next quarter of a mile, make it a tenth of that size. The next quarter of a mile, I have to make it a tenth of that size. I have to do that 100 times. While it's getting smaller, how much farther from our point of view is it beyond the yellow line? Not much. Our visual range, there's nothing there. It's kind of just staying still. It's just getting smaller and smaller and smaller, and it's disappearing into the horizon. Right?
And on the ball Earth model, you wouldn't be able to see New York anyway.
No, it wouldn't. No,
From that
point. When I look out at that shot, there's the Whitestone bridges there. And on a clear, calm day, when I'm down near the water, when it's cool, I can zoom in and see the Whitestone bridge, and I can see underneath the bridge, and I could see the footings of the bridge. Right. And I shouldn't see the top of the stanchions on that bridge from this distance. The very top of the bridge, the big stanchions. I shouldn't even be able to see those. I should be beyond the curve, and I can see underneath the bridge. Right? But nobody wants to pay attention to that. So here we have, this is Earth curve if you're in the globe cult religion. All right? You got a viewer, and it happens to be at his eye level. Water's ramping up, sky's ramping down, his horizontal eye zone or horizon, right? And so I'll put a red line here. Let me get rid of the picture. And now I'm going to give you a top-down view. So we're looking down. Here's the horizon. We're looking straight down from above the guy. And when he sees out here, that's the limit of his view. That's where the sky and the ground meet. That's his horizontal eye zone. So if this is, let's just say 10 miles, whatever. It doesn't matter, just for a number, 10. What are the distances of this view? This looks more than 10. Looks like 15 maybe, right? How can he see 50% farther when he turns his head a little bit than when he looks here? So when somebody says, I filmed the horizon and I compressed it and I could see a curve. I'm up in an airplane. I could see the curve of the Earth. No, you see the curve of your vision because this is how we see the same distance in all directions, whether it's 10 miles, 100 miles, 200 miles, 50 miles. We see the same distance. This is his horizontal eye zone within this circle. Put your head in the middle of a hula hoop. That hula hoop is your horizon. It's curved, but it's flat.
That's a really good demonstration because that's one of the first things they say. I can see the curve.
Yeah.
And without that demonstration of, no, you can't. You can only see the line of your eye.
So
You're
Will,
interpreting it
yep.
as a curve.
The guy, Will Duffy, the deceiver that pulled off the final experiment, he now has a new one coming out. One of this other, he surrounded himself with all of the lying globe trolls, the worst of the worst. Those are all of his mentors now, all of his, associates. And it's so clear that this guy is, what are his motivations? I can only speculate. But they're sending.
Can I just?
Go ahead.
There's a video just come out of him with all the court issues that he's got, the amount of he's been sued.
You're welcome. That's my
right. That's yours, is it? Right.
That's right.
I mean, the experiences I've had is they get people that are in the shit and they make a deal with them to do shit like this to support the narrative.
Yeah, damn right. That's it. Here, let's take a quick look, a quick little review, right? So on 11/9/21, he settled for 10,000 out of 218,000. Great deal. Okay. On 9/16/22, supposedly he said he's been planning the final experiment for several years. So he's planning it while he had to pay $225,000 in a settlement. On 4/19, that's April, February, March, April 19th, 2024. Okay. Well into the announcement of the experiment, he's got all of these violations, right? With SEC violations that could come with jail time. No amount was set on this one. Then after it's announced, in June, he gets another one, damage amount requested $135,000, right? Again, a couple days later in June, $360,000. I can't even read through all of these. These come with possible jail time, right? Right? And he doesn't care. He just wants to.
And he's flying off to Antarctic.
Yeah, and he just wants to settle debate. And then he goes, when I come back from Antarctica, I'm going to take a little break, and spend some family time. He hasn't taken a day off, right? October, just heading into it, another $120,000. And then just now at the end of January 2025, after they're back already, he's got a huge one. This one could be millions. Who knows what this one could be? Okay. And jail time. And he just cares about settling the debate. It's so obvious, right? It's so obvious. It's unbelievable. And then if you look at his, I don't want to do a whole thing on him, but I kind of do. If you look at his logo, this is his Agape Kingdom, right? I have it backwards, right?
Oh, geez.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. That's just a coincidence, right? Just a coincidence, right? Yeah. There's a lot of stuff. And there's some real final experiments that I would get behind, but they'll never do them. They won't pay any attention to them.
Yeah, but he's paying a fortune to do these. You could pay less money to probably do some of the experience that you'd like to do, but he's paying a fortune to do these. Yeah, these ones to hold the narrative.
Yeah. So where were we going before we went down that road? We were talking about something. I was going to make a point. What were we talking about a minute ago?
Shit, I can't remember.
Sorry. It's all right. We're talking about the perspective and
yeah.
All right, go ahead. We'll figure it out.
Yeah. Well, you just a side note on that, because weren't you asked to go to that?
So the entire trip was designed specifically for me and only me, right? Because I'm reaching the most number of people. I'm waking up new people. They don't care if flat earthers come out and talk amongst themselves. As long as you're not recruiting new people, I'm recruiting more than anybody else. I'm going to say it, right? If somebody's recruiting more than me, God bless you.
That's why I reached out to you.
Yeah. But my app is also going a bit viral, and they're doing everything they can. Now, the comments you're going to get on your video is Dave app is leaking data and it's a risk. And listen to this. You know what KYC is? Know your customer. Whenever you're filling out like something financial, you got to verify yourself, your ID and everything. You don't have to do any of that on my app. You can put a fake email address. You can put a fake name. The only information that you put in there, guess what information you put in there? The information that you want to share with all of the other users, right? So back in October, they spent a lot of money. They hacked into the server and they got all the information. So they could have just paid the $3 for the app and then looked at everybody's information. Okay. Right. So, so again, they're doing everything they can to take this down because what I'm doing is I'm bypassing the YouTube algorithms. Right? You Google flat Earth, you're not going to find anything good. Actually, you will find me now somewhat because I'm on so many different channels. The algorithm doesn't know what to do. Right? My channel, you'll never find my channel. Right? But I have the daily video every day on the app. And if you watch the daily video every day, you'll be a flat earther within a week. Okay. No, there's no question. But you will never find these videos on your own. You'll never find them.
Right. Yeah.
The frequently asked questions, people like, well, what about the 24-hour sun, right? So the 24-hour sun, Antarctica, and the 24-hour sun right here, right there, right? Or why would they lie? Or what about tides? Well, where does the sun go, right? Eclipses, right? There, all of the stuff's here. And when you click any of these, all the videos in there are shadow banned. Right? They're videos that you won't be able to find. They don't want you knowing about the old world, right? If you hit this Griffin button right here, are you looking into the old world yet?
Oh, there's so much of it here in New Zealand. I'm going to do a video.
It's amazing, right? New Zealand has amazing stuff, right? So again, the old world is amazing, and the channels I recommend. There's so many channels. This is Campbell from Autodidactic. He's in somewhere in Australia. It's all the same to me because I'm an American. I'm a dumb American. Brisbane. I don't know. He's not at Brisbane. He's in. I couldn't tell you where he is. I don't know.
He's upside down.
He's upside down, but not upside down to you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
My lunch break. He's on every platform. YouTube. You can find him. This is one of the greatest channels ever. Every week he puts out another 1 or 2 videos, all just looking at old buildings and looking at the official story and making no claims. He's just like, look at this. Think about this. If you start watching this, and I actually find that the old world is a great way to ease people in. When someone asks me what I do, the most effective thing I do now is I say, well, I do a lot of podcasts and I teach people things. So what do you teach them? Well, I teach them about our fake history. They're like, what do you mean? And I start with the old world and I start bringing up some things. And they're like, wow. And then I'm like, yeah, it's worse than that. Everything is fake. Really? Now you got them. Now you've opened up their mind a little bit and you could stick flat earth in there, right? And once you stick it in, it's like a fungus. There's no getting rid of it.
The two work in conjunction with each other.
Yeah. And I recommend for beginners, Old World Order. You can find it on my website. It's on the app. Old World Order. It's by Sean Hibbler. He's done some great stuff. Have you seen the Nephilim or clowns?
No, I don't think I've seen that one.
Come from if you want your mind blown, watch the Nephilim or clowns. Okay. You want your mind completely blown. The giant trees, just amazing stuff. Biogeology, right? And then you can, take it a little farther and go into the Cabbage Patch Kids. Holy crap, right? This page alone will keep you busy forever, right? I'm the Improbable Dreamer on TikTok. Amazing, great stuff, right? Airships, all sorts of stuff. But there's all sorts of stuff in here, books. I don't want to talk about the app forever, but the app is awesome. It's only $3, one-time charge. And if you want to go on the social media part, create a profile, and be able to reach out to others, you have to subscribe. Ready for this? It's $11 a year. Okay?
Right.
$11 a year. Okay? And you can start a subscription by referring me
one-off charge and $11 a year.
It's a $1 you don't even have to subscribe, but it would help me if you subscribe. But the subscription is $11 a year. But if you refer it, when you show somebody, someone goes, do you think the moon landing was real? And you open up the images and let's just type in LEM from the moon landing, and you instantly have the greatest photos and memes at your feet. You go, look, do you think that is a spaceship made out of paper? Hey, right? If somebody sheetrocked your basement like that, would you pay them? Okay, right? So you have all of this stuff on there. You want to look up perspective, you can just put in perspective, right? And now you have all of these images that you can pull up. So when you do this to somebody, they go, where do I get that app? So when you they'll want to get the app, right? It's $3. It's no brainer. In the friend finder, if you go to the middle button right here, which will look different for you, that is your referral area. And you can just give them your referral code. There'll be a random number there. Hit the pencil, make your own. It could be anything up to 7 digits. You can just be Craig. Maybe there's a Craig already, maybe not. And then when they use it, you get a point and you get 1 million dome cryptocurrency for free, no charge. Okay. But if you get 11 points, you can trade them in for a year subscription. That's what I'm getting at.
Right. Oh no, beautiful.
Yeah. Again, that's what. So your question was, um, TFE was designed for me, and so when I said no, because immediately I'm a good sense. I have my spirit is high enough where I can see evil. I can
Yep.
sense evil instantly. And from the first email from Will Duffy, I'm like, this seems like a friggin' scam. And I said, stop playing your games. Just tell us what it is, and I will take a look at it. And he goes, oh, you have to wait. It's coming out in 6 months or something like that. And I was like, don't ever email me again. Take my name off your list. I want nothing to do with this at all. Right. And so they freaked out. Oh, so when they announced, they took a survey and all the flat earthers, 80% of them chose Dave Weiss to be the person that goes on a free trip to Antarctica. They always say it like that. A free trip, right? It's like 40 grand, right? And I turned it down. And so they did a campaign to get me to go. I was speaking at Acapulco in Acapulco at a big conference in February. So months before it, they were contacting every influencer there that has influence on me. They're like, Dave Weiss saw you speaking at your conference. He was offered a free trip to Antarctica to see the 24-hour sun, and he turned it down. You should not let him go, or you convince him to go. So they're reaching out. Weird people are reaching out. They're like, why is this person contacting me to tell me this? Like they had every agent coming from every angle. And I was like, I'm not going. So then they panicked. And they said, okay, we're going to go with Jaron. And Jaron goes, well, I'm not going unless Austin's going. Meanwhile, I told everybody, nobody should go. Nobody should go. I go, this is not good. I go, we don't know what they're going to do, but what they're not going to do is let you see the sunset. That's a fact. Okay? Whether it does or doesn't matter. It's interesting, but it's a psyop. And so Jaron goes, well, I want Austin to go. And I said, Jaron, I think they could fake the sun in the sky. And I actually do think they fake the sun in the sky. There's a growing number of us that are thinking that, but that's okay. That doesn't matter. So Jaron said, I said to him, well, if there's a haze in the sky, because it's always cloudy there. Look up Union Glacier. Every freaking picture, almost every picture is cloudy. I said, there's a haze. I go, that's going to be, maybe they can project something there. And so he goes, if the sky's hazy, I'm not going to accept the results. And Will Duffy goes, it'll be blue sky. If it's not blue sky, it's a win for flat. Okay, wait a minute. 6 months in advance, you're going to say that it's going to be blue sky where it's hardly ever blue sky. And when they got to Santiago, they found out that it had been cloudy at Union Glacier for 2 or 3 months. They hadn't seen the sun once in 2 or 3 months. And then the day they get there, it's 9/11 blue. Beautiful. The bluest blue that you've ever seen. Okay. And then so many people jumped on. Oh, they're in an Amazon studio. They weren't there. They were in on it. It was filmed a year ago. It was in the north. It's like all the crazy stuff, right? And again, it's okay to try to figure something out. I don't know if I have the exact answer, but we all know that it's faked. Like we're trying to figure out, does the Earth have a dome? Is it extended plane? Is there more lands? Is there not more lands? We all know it's not a globe. We're trying to figure out the other stuff. So they agreed to that. Magically, it's blue. There's too many things that line up. Will's, financial history. And Will says, he's a millionaire or whatever. Meanwhile, he went to pay for Joe Hill's, he invited Joe Hill to debate McToon at his church. When he went to pay for the hotel, his credit card bounced. That happens to millionaires, right? Their credit cards. Yeah. It happens the whole time, I'm sure. Right? So that's it. That's not wanting to talk about TFE. We spent 20 minutes on it.
You believe Jaronism, or you think Jaronism truly believes he saw the sun going around in the 24 hours?
I don't know. Here's my view on him. I don't think he was an agent from the start. A lot of people are like, he's been an agent from the start. He did a lot of damage. He did a lot of damage to the globe. I think that something happened there. I don't know what it was. I think that something has influenced him, whether it's spiritual, whether it's physical, whether it has to do with CPS, whether it has to do with SEC, whether it has to do with I don't know. I'm not making no accusations, but something. And the only thing, he texted somebody right when he flipped, who said, hey, we should talk, man. I don't understand. And he goes, I'm paraphrasing. I think the quote was, I've gotten myself into either a tight or an impossible or a tough situation, and I don't know what to do. That's a quote from him. Take that
Right.
with what you mean, second-hand information, third-hand information I'm giving to you, so who even knows if it's true? And do with it as you wish. Energy flows where attention goes, okay? I don't give him any more attention. This is the most attention I've given him in a long time. And I don't watch his stuff. I don't listen to his stuff because the truth will set us free. The truth is amazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's amazing.
This is what I say to people, with the Trump thing and the Elon Musk, just have a bit of faith that the truth will win here.
Yeah.
And maybe things going on.
People say Trump's playing 5D chess. I say he's playing 7D chess. Okay. 7D.
Right. I can hope so. So just to wrap up real quick, and I know you've probably gone over it, for people that are sitting on the fence or they're just looking at this in the early stages, real quick, what have you got to say to that?
Don't believe anything I say. Don't believe anything Craig says. Don't believe anything that YouTube feeds you, especially, and verify all of this stuff yourself, but learn both sides of the argument. The people that immediately jump out against flat Earth don't know their own model. They have no idea what their own model is. You say to somebody, you say, okay, you think flat Earth is stupid. Can you explain, can you tell me what the rotational speed of the Earth is at the equator? And can you, and Alaska? Can you tell me the difference between them? Can you tell me the orbital speed? Can you tell me how fast the sun is moving, how far it moves per year, how far the sun is, how they figured it out? They don't know any of that, but they know that
they don't know it.
They've never seen curvature.
They don't know any of it, but it makes sense to them.
Yeah. Well, it makes sense because that's what they were told. And then they're like, well, yes, Eratosthenes with his sticks and shadows, that's nonsense. It's absolute and total nonsense. Globers love doing two things: looking up at the sky, at the lights that they can't even know what they are, and looking at ancient people 2,000 years ago. Okay. Well, 2,000 years ago, Eratosthenes put a stick in the well, and he stick in a shadow, and his buddy 500 miles away, which counted his steps. That's how he knew he was there. And somehow they were able to communicate with each other at the exact same time and do a stick measurement, okay, a shadow measurement. It's absolutely ridiculous, okay? It's so stupid. It's hard to even fathom.
It's like some of the buildings built here, even just on the South Island alone, built by the same architect over a 5-year period.
Yeah.
He would have had to have emails, he would have had trucks, he would have had cell phones and all that to be able to achieve that. You couldn't do that today, let alone back then. For them to do that experiment 2,000 years ago, they would have had to be contacting each other on the cell phone,
logistics, the programs. My lunch break. Everybody look him up on YouTube, find him on the app, and watch his stuff. It's so funny. He calls Donkeys Incorporated, getting all the bricks and everything to the site. Are you familiar with Yankee Stadium here in New York City? Yankee Stadium, where the New York Yankees baseball play. Do you know what baseball is?
Yeah.
They have baseball. They have baseball.
I know where America is. They're the ones on the right side up.
It's a massive stadium, and that was supposedly built in 18 something or 1900 something, before power tools, before trucks, horses and buggies, and a guy.
I saw that one. Yes.
And he asked AI, like, if all the materials are just 10 miles away, that never happens. But he gave, like we give the globe the benefit of the doubt. Go ahead, add your refraction, add this, add that. It's still flat, right? And it finally got the AI to admit that it's absolutely ridiculous. And AI hung up on it. If you're looking for it, just go on the app. You just go to the search button, button. It's a video search, and just type in Yankee Stadium, and it'll come right up. And it's a great resource. Like when you're looking for a video on the app, like if you're looking for a video, if you remember like a video that you want, just type it in here or just the keywords, and all the videos will come up. You can just you get it and give it to people. It's the greatest way to wake people up. So check it out, and you can get it at flatearthdave.com.
Sorry.
No worries. We're good. No, flatearthdave.com. That's where all my YouTubes are, my X. I'm Flat Earth Dave X, but don't remember anything other than flatearthdave.com. And then you'll see all my social medias. Subscribe there. Give me a follow. If you have the app, by the way, Go leave me if you like the app, leave me a 5-star review. If you don't like the app, maybe just forget about this part of the video. Because Globers are out there trying to give me as many 1-star reviews as they can, saying the app is leaky.
Of course.
Facebook is leaky, giving me all of your information that you want to share with me.
Right. Yeah.
All right, so go ahead.
Just back on the my lunch break thing for real quick. I was hoping that you might be able to put me in touch with him and the other guy that you're talking about in Australia, because I'd like to do an interview with them, just touching on this too.
If you go on TikTok and go to Angels of Light with underscores in between those 3 words, and you can find him right there, and just message him or pop on. I'm sure he'd be glad to do a live with you. Kenny from my lunch break, he doesn't do many interviews, and you'd have to be a really big channel to get his attention.
Right.
And don't take that the wrong way. He's a busy guy, and he's putting out super quality content. Super quality. Yeah. The best content. So, and there's also, by the way, a dating site on here, right? You go in here, like-minded people. So you say, all right, I'm interested in women between this age and this age, within 50 miles or 100 miles or 1,000 miles, whatever you want. And you hit it, and then you could swipe through profiles and say hello and send them a message, right? Like the dating applications here in America are like $40 or $50 a month. This is $11 a year, unlocks everything, all current features and all future features. So it's a good
on the dating site. You've immediately got a talking point, haven't you?
You have more in common with every blue dot on that map than anybody else, right? Than any other site will ever put you in touch with. So if you look, let's let it load for a second because there's a lot of people around me. You just click on any of these dots and you'll see the person, and you could click their profile. You could send them a message, and it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. And there's also a meetup maker, because nothing better than finding other flat Earth people in your hometown. So the meetup maker, you can just go there and search by location, or you can make your own meetup. You put in all the information, and then you say, and you send it, and it'll go to everybody. Let me just go here for a second.
Nothing's coming up. Oh, there it is now. Yep.
Yeah. So the important on the meetup maker and important on the meetup maker is list your own meetups. You can make them there, but alert me of local meetups. So I say alert me of all meetups within 500 miles, just because I'm curious, right? You can make it shorter, right? And that way, anytime anyone enters a meetup, you'll get an email with a link to that meetup, so you don't miss it. It's like people are like, oh, there was a meetup just 10 miles from me. I didn't even know about it. Well, everyone, this is pretty new, so it's going to build really fast, and it's going to be the greatest way to find people. And if you have a meetup, like on the friend finder, check this out. If I click, we'll go back here. All right. If I click, I want to say 50 kilometers. I'm going to select 50 kilometers. So I want to know how many people are within 50 kilometers, and there's 438, which shows up right here. So if I click that, I can send a message to 438 people. Hey, I'm having a meetup at Rico's Pizza Saturday at 4:00. Come one, come all. Right? And then you send it. And then I'd also create a meetup in the meetup maker just on top of that. Last time we did that, 85 people showed up. But if one person shows up, just one, that's a success, right? Like, do you have many flat earthers around you that you know?
Yes, yeah.
You do have a few.
People I'm close with.
But if you did a meetup and 10 new people showed up, you're going to let's do this every third Saturday of the month or something. You're going to do it, and people are that's what they don't want. Us getting together. The app is bringing us together, proving that the sun circles, right? So look, I'll go back. If I turn on the time zones, New Zealand is right here. So is it 7:30? Where are you? What time is it?
It's 8:51 now.
8:51. So yeah, so it's right here. New Zealand's right there. And again, time zones. Do you guys have daylight savings time there or anything? They screw it.
We do. We're about to go back at the end of this month.
Yeah. You know what? We have daylight savings. If I turned it on, it would actually move you right to the correct time where you are. But I have it off because when you do it, it puts the sun in the real position. And when I'm doing demonstrations, I don't want the hour hand to be an hour off of the sun. It's extremely accurate. Like right now, if I called, there's no island there. If I waited until it was over Hawaii and I called someone in Hawaii, I'd say, what time is it? Where's the sun? They go, the sun's right above me and it's noon. Right. And I've done it like the sun was over South America, and I was on a radio show that happened to be right there, and I was trying to figure out where they were, and I'm like, hey, what time is it? Where's the sun? It was like, it's 11:58 and the sun's directly above me. So the circling sun on the AE map works. Now, this isn't the exact map, more of a graphic representation, but it's amazing. And you could show people the app, right now, you can see the sun and the moon in the sky right now. If you go up, look a little bit ahead of the sun, you should be able to see the moon, right? If you go outside, the moon you're going to see the sun, and a little in front on the way the sun is traveling, you're going to see the moon if you look real carefully. You'll see it right there.
Yeah. The sun's right there, so the moon will be just over there.
Yeah, whatever way the sun's going. So the sun is moving to the west, and the moon is a little bit west of the sun, and it's a sliver. Now, a lot of people would never have seen that, but then they're like, wait a minute, my app says that, and you're looking up in the sky, and they're like, there it is. It's kind of fun when you see the sun and the moon very close together. It's very interesting. So,
no, that's beautiful. Oh, well, I'll get that. I haven't because I haven't looked at what the pricing is on that. So, but I mean, it's
$3 one-time charge. $3 one-time charge. Just mind you, as we're talking right now, I'm doing some upgrades. The profile section is offline, maybe for a couple more days, maybe less. But you'll get a pop-up that warns you when a certain section is being worked on. You'll get a notice that says, hey, this is offline. Sit tight. Don't complain. But most importantly, every day there's a daily video. All the old videos are here. Just that resource alone is amazing. It's amazing. Right? And it's got like a telegram on it. If I hit this, it brings me to my messaging center. Hold on, I'll do it. And it's kind of like Telegram. And these are all the people. And I got a lot of unread messages. And these are the people that you're in, the groups that you're in. You can create your own group. You can find users, start conversations. It's kind of very interesting. So, Flat Earth, Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app. You can find everything at flatearthdave.com. If you don't want to get the app, that's fine. Just go down to the crash course where it says, see a picture of me, it says crash course. And if you're a Glober, watch the first 5 videos or 3 videos in that, and you'll be a flat earther. That's it. So don't watch it unless you're ready to be ridiculed and laughed at.
That's right. Yeah, I'll take some shit for putting this on YouTube in New Zealand. That's for sure. That's all right. If anybody's going to be able to take that shit, it's going to be me. So I'm okay with that.
All right. Awesome. Thanks, Craig.
I appreciate your time. Thank you very much, Dave. It's been a pleasure to have you here.